Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast covers everything tech. The hottest mobile phones, tablets, games. We review it, rate it, test it. Whether you're Microsoft or Apple, Android or iPhone, we'll give it to you
again and again.
Black and white. The Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast.
Hello and welcome into the GSMC Technology Podcast. It is a Tuesday today, and I am Tom Dougherty, your host. As always, this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As we come in with E3 in full swing, we are waiting on the Nintendo reveal. There is, I have some notes as far as for those who want to go and find out what the Nintendo presentation will be happening today at E3, as we've had already a bunch of stuff announced regarding Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We had some stuff from Resident Evil 2. We have, I think the live stream for the direct press conference for Nintendo is happening right now. So Tuesday we'll definitely be recapping that as everything kind of unfolds. Definitely some big news coming out of Nintendo from this year, as we all are kind of waiting what's going to be coming in next. With the Switch, obviously, we have some news, but we have Halo stuff, Last of Us, a new Xbox already, as we have already stuff coming out from E3. Obviously, it's a big deal down there. It's happening right now at the Electronic Entertainment Expo, obviously, Los Angeles. That's the big deal. That's why it's called E3, and it's down there right now, as the biggest announcements are coming out of the. I mean, this is an industry that is $108 billion deep, basically, every year. I mean, this is an industry that pulls in that kind of cash. I mean, sequels have to help with it. I mean, we have gaming obviously being one of the most popular. I don't want to say hobby, because we're getting into its professional gamers. We're getting into esports and such. I mean, we just had a massive tournaments for, I think, what was it, NHL 19 or something like that, around the world for one of the hockey games. We've had ESPN is televising games for like competitions for what was it, I think it was one of the big ones where they play against each other. Obviously, the group ones. I don't know why it's just kind of escaping me right now. I'll figure it out. Obviously, when it comes back to the top of my head, StarCraft. There we go. StarCraft. I mean, League of Legends. Obviously, Dota and everything. All stuff like that. We see all the time now. Even on regular random TV, it is becoming very popular to actually be watching these people play. We're going to get into actually, they're going to create leagues for NBA 2K. There's going to be leagues. I know there's people out there whose jobs it is to recruit gamers to get them on these teams, because it's like regular. It's like getting into kind of regular sports now, where you're trying to find talent and you're trying to find people who are really good at these games, and you want to get them together so they can try competing against other people who are really good at these games, because that's the basis of all this stuff, is competition. Yeah, it's fun. It's the time to let loose, relax, whatever. But now we're getting to where there's money involved in this stuff. There's a lot of money involved. There's sponsorships put on it, and competition only breeds competition, which is right? The game is a competition in itself, and the game can be turned into a live broadcast where you can actually watch the people playing. So, I mean, you're going to have all that kind of stuff everywhere. I mean, obviously, we are kind of ready for it, as, I mean, there's 2.6 billion gamers around the world. That's about over almost a third of our population is gaming, whether it be on a Nintendo Switch, a Xbox One, a PlayStation 4, older consoles, PC games, Mac games. I mean, I think, who was it? I think it was Asus just came out with a router that is, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but there's a router I think that's came out that's supposed to have, it's like a 4-way. Asus announced that unreasonably fast. It's a 802.11ax gaming. It's a gaming router, literally a gaming router. It's delivering the faster Wi-Fi. It's supposed to come this fall, and it's got, what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8 antennas on it. And it's so obviously it has also has a turbo key that helps you speed things up as well. So that's pretty. I mean, we're getting into a point now where things are being specialized for gaming. Things are being. I mean, I remember when it was all, got to get your gaming chair, got to be able to plug in your sound into your chair. I mean, which is kind of cool, but I mean, it's an industry now where not only do we have massive conferences, but we have announcements that are treated like breaking news when we find out when the next things come out. Obviously, it is breaking news because it's a big deal, and people are like, don't poo-poo my thing. No, it's a big deal, and there's a lot of money involved, and it's obviously not only is there, like I said, competition breeds competition. Not only do you want to have the best new game, now we're getting into consoles and console creators like Sony and Microsoft paying developers to create games solely for their console. So now we're getting into competition where it's like, okay, does Sony have the better games? Does Xbox Microsoft have the better games? What's going to be done? So obviously Ubisoft are one of those developers that works I believe they work with Microsoft exclusively, as they came out with their announcements within the last few days. Obviously, Ubisoft is so it's the publisher for Microsoft, as they have done Assassin's Creed. I'm trying to find, are they just only Microsoft there for just Ubisoft? It's just Microsoft games. I don't know. I always think that because it's Ubisoft versus Microsoft. I don't know. I think they have other stuff. They don't just make Microsoft games, but they came out with we've come out with a bunch of stuff regarding them. Everything they showed off has been announced. Odyssey, obviously, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It doesn't have any assassins, and we'll get to that probably in the next segment regarding why that is. There's no assassins in there. We also have a cool trailer from a new game. Well, obviously we have Just Dance 2. That's coming out in October for those who aren't really on the RPG levels, or even on the strategy games, or any of the first-person shooters. You can go play Just Dance 2, coming out in Just Dance 2019 is coming out in October, as well. It's coming on a lot of different platforms, as well as obviously Nintendo Switch. I don't know why it says Nintendo Wii. That's weird. But there's another one. We got to see more of a trailer from Beyond Good and Evil 2. Definitely recommend going and looking at that trailer. It's a very nice cinematic trailer, giving you more of the kind of the behind the star of Jade, who's the kind of that character they think that might be made into a villain. We'll see what kind of goes along with the gameplay there. Obviously, everything kind of comes out as it goes. We all saw a new trailer called from Trials. Trials is returning. It's called Trials Rising, as we're getting into this. So, that's another thing where if you don't like the whole RPG or a first-person shooter, this is a game that, it's a biking game. So we saw another one. This is going to be available on PS4, PC, Xbox, and the Switch. This is being announced in February 2019, and this is now begging the question, like, okay, what games aren't coming out in February 2019 for those gamers out there who are really hindered? Like, okay, this is another one. We had The Division 2, which is actually pretty interesting. I remember when The Division 1 first came out. This is a Tom Clancy game. Division 1 came out, it was a big deal. It's like, okay, well, this is the first kind of game where we're really getting into the storyline. I think there was like a whole cinematic. There was a episode, like an hour-long movie or a mini movie that came out before the. I think some other games have done this before, but this was like a really live-acted, well-produced thing. That it was really cool when the first one came out. The Division 2 has come out with a cinematic trailer. I'm not sure they're going to do the full hour-long thing like they did for the previous edition of the game, But looks like that. Yeah, see, look at that free. That's episodic DLC pack. So it's going to be kind of the same thing. Where you're going to be getting that same kind of thing. And obviously, the initial outbreak is still the same kind of thing off of the first division. Also, it'll get 8-player raids. So you can also you can team up with up to 7 guys or girls, whoever you are gaming with, and go on these raids. Obviously, they have the same kind of deal where you are working obviously as a sleeper group that is being activated to go and help control this outbreak that is being happened. Is more of a post-apocalyptic thing as we saw in the first edition of the game. Mario and Donkey Kong Adventure DLC has come out, and that's going to be, I think, what was it? They say they have a date for that, June 26th. So that's one of the more soon ones. Obviously, we're going to see quickly here. Skull and Bones, the pirate gaming one has come out, as we saw a trailer for that one. As there was a gameplay demo as well, looks pretty cool. Obviously, Sea of Thieves we've seen, as that was the game that was bundled with all the new Xboxes. As it's kind of similar, you can work together and steal loot and such like that, and go raid ships. And obviously, we'll keep an eye on that one. There's a new VR game. Actually, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be obviously available on the Rift, Vive, PSVR, PS4, Xbox One as well, as it's coming in the fall, and it's be called Transference, and it is designed to work with VR. You actually can play it on the screen as well, but it's focused on VR with the narrative. This is Elijah Wood actually came out and talked about this during the conference, which is pretty interesting. We saw Star Fox. Obviously, Star Fox trailer is available as well on YouTube. All these trailers are available on YouTube. If you want, I can also link this article with everything that Ubisoft showed off. Link to it. It's a good one. All the YouTube links are also embedded into it. The Starlink Battle for Atlas is going to be available. I think that they announced, what was that one? I don't think they came out with a date for that one quite yet, but it's going to be a Nintendo Ubisoft crossover that's going to have Star Fox is coming into that game as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. And then how many more we got here? Obviously, we talked a little bit about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That one is going to be obviously they closed out with a bunch of stuff like that. It's one of their more flagship games. As we haven't really got, I don't know whether we're going to get into that. It's going to be out October 5th on PC, PS4, and Xbox. So there we go. And then the final one is called For Honor. As we got a new For Honor. It's going to be a new mode as well in this game. As we're going to be called expansion called Marching Fire. As there was a new trailer for that one as well. The new faction, 4 new fighters, and some new content with for those who like to play by themselves. Single player content, and is going to be free. It's going to be a starter edition for PC players actually this week. That's on Upplay this week. So if you want to go play it now on PC, you can for free coming out. All right. Couple more things before we wrap up this segment. I kind of went through everything from Ubisoft. We'll get into some more stuff with the Nintendo stuff, kind of a new Xbox, Fallout 76 as well. In the next segment, I do want to look and touch on more stuff regarding Assassin's Creed and the fact that there's no assassins in Assassin's Creed. Obviously, this is the Odyssey kind of thing. It's more of a storyline. Obviously, we're getting into a different kind of thing where this is now set back in ancient Greece, as the Odyssey name will kind of point to. But it looks like that it's kind of getting that Origins thing going, obviously, with the new... it's really going into that RPG territory versus FPS, where obviously there was no real... you couldn't really shoot anybody in the first Assassin's Creed ones. You're more of jumping on from a building. There isn't as a little bit with skills, but there's no real you're actually putting your assassin. You're gonna have more of that hunter and warrior mode on. Obviously, the hood is still a staple, but it looks like that they're not going to be doing with that assassin stuff this time. As we're in Greece, and I think it's begging the point of like of the storyline. Are we not there yet? Kind of a little too far before the Templars. The Templar got together and everything. So not talk about the Order, the Templar, or anything like that. So you can do that as well. All right. As we wrap up this first segment, I'll come back and do some more talk on Nintendo, that kind of new Xbox, Fallout 76. We'll do that as E3 is here. It's most of the first half of the show, if not maybe leaking into the third segment as well. We're going to be doing gaming talk as we are in the middle of E3. I wish it could be. I mean, obviously, for those down in LA right now, I hope you're having a good time. And at this big conference, as everything is starting to come to fruition, is like I said, February 2019 is going to be a pretty fun time, as we're going to have a lot of new stuff to go in. Nobody's going to come out of their houses. They're all going to be gaming. All right, I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Technology Podcast. As we are diving deep into the E3 news, as that conference is happening right now in Los Angeles. Xbox has just come out and reportedly has said that their next-gen consoles will be coming in 2 years in 2020. I did just say kind of there was a new Xbox, kinda. Obviously, we always like to say kinda because they had the first time. Well, I mean, that was I gave them props. Obviously, when they came out with the two Xboxes, they came out with the Xbox X and the Xbox S. With the obviously Xbox One S, Xbox One X, have talked about that a lot. Obviously, with the fact that they split and everything, getting one for more of the hardcore gamer with the more RAM and the better video card, the better graphics package and everything, can do 4K TVs, blah blah, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to say blah blah blah, but it is, it's a mouthful. Versus like the Xbox One S, which is for your normal regular gamer that's not going to go crazy, and they're more probably going to maybe use it more also for the other services you can use your Xbox for, like I do, which is Netflix, HBO, streaming live TV, live sporting events. I mean, everything. You can do a lot of stuff on there. I know that with the updates, obviously we're going to be not updates, but the releases and updates we're getting regarding the releases. It's pretty fast paced, obviously. As we did know that there is going to be new. That's kind of the obviously when we say new Xbox is because it's coming in a year and a half, basically, or a year, depending on what time and what day, what month in 2020 they decide to release that Xbox, the new Xbox, whatever it will be called. But I mean, we've already talked about it when we talked to Sony and talked about PlayStation, and when Sony came out and talked to whether it was the CEO or one of the chiefs, just come out and said the Xbox, the PlayStation 4, the lifespan of it is coming to an end, but they're not going to release a new console until about the 2022 or something like that, or 2021. When they said they were going to release the next console, I'm sure it'll be now closer to 2020. The Xbox is kind of, Microsoft has come out and said, yeah, no, it's going to be 2020. Like, this is when the next gen consoles are going to be coming out. And whether PlayStation, I think PlayStation is going to be the first, is going to be, of the two companies, PlayStation will definitely, and Sony will definitely be the first ones to get into the VR stuff, as they already are going to be having that VR. Was it Transcendence or something like that? The game I was talking about that has the VR supporting one. I think that's what it's called. It's under the T. But we just we're talking about the fact that PlayStation might be even though they're probably going to make a new console, they know that people love their consoles, and we're likely not going to be going away from them because, I mean, as much as everybody likes to think that they can put a headset on and do the whole VR stuff, there's so many different learning curves to it. There's getting used to being claustrophobic, not being claustrophobic, and being in a virtual reality where things are not, it's augmented, basically. It's AR and VR, so it's augmented reality while also in that virtual world, because you're in a headset and you can't see people next to you unless they're wearing the headset too and you're playing like a multiplayer game, versus like playing on your couch or on your gaming chair, wherever, with your little controller in your hand and you're playing on your TV. You can actually interact with the people, the world around you, and people are probably a little more comfortable with that. It's not as claustrophobic and not as we have to get over that whole. I mean, that's one of the big reasons I think VR is not going to really hold on and catch on. It's because of the claustrophobia problem, the fact that we're kind of being put into a different room while we're sitting in another room. What if people are going to be like, oh, what if somebody comes up behind me and grabs me or something, or pokes me or something? It's kind of weird. I can't see them because I'm in this headset. We'll see. People can get over it as well. But I mean, this is a crazy event. What's happening right now? It's 60,000 people signed up to go. The Electronic Entertainment Expo. This is at Los Angeles Convention Center right now. Obviously, this is one of the biggest hosts. As we talked about, that this industry is $108 billion. I mean, this is why these reports are highly touted. We treat them as if it's like breaking news. We just saw that the Xbox has announced a date. We did kind of get a little bit of a date from PlayStation a couple of weeks ago. I mean, Fallout 76. Remember when the last Fallout game came out? It was crazy. It was all about the commercials and getting this survival guide and everything. Now we get Fallout 76. The beta access is available. You can pre-order, or you get it when you pre-order. It looks like as that will be released. I think. Did they come out with a date for Fallout 76? And it's all kind of coming. This is the problem when we're obviously reporting on something that's happening right now. It's going to be. I'm not seeing a date yet because this is going to be all showcased right now. We're seeing the beta. You could pre-order, which means it's probably pretty soon. I mean, that's what I'm thinking here regarding Fallout 76. But I mean, it's set for release. Obviously, PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Looks like it's going to be going more into the insular inner worlds, the vaults, and what comes after. As we saw in the trailer, was a nice little teaser for what to expect with this 76. Obviously, it's a big deal. One of the bigger. I mean, I wouldn't say more. Because that was Assassin's Creed as well, Halo as well. Was another big game. This was one of the bigger ones that kind of had its. Definitely had its big show out with the last edition of it that came out, because it was kind of the only game that was coming out, the only big blockbuster game at least coming out. There's so many different peripheral games out there. But right now, obviously, with Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Halo also being kind of like, okay, were we going to see Halo yet? Obviously, we're waiting on it. So far, so good, because, I'm waiting for Halo because I'll be pre-ordering that thing pretty soon. Obviously, hopefully everything is going to live to the hype as we're seeing all this kind of stuff coming out with even more stuff. EA has their whole announcements yet to come. We have all these different massive developers. We already went through everything with Ubisoft. Nintendo is going through their presentation as we speak right now. Sony had theirs yesterday. Obviously, we did already get the announcement that we're going to be getting a Battlefield 5, but we obviously don't need. We obviously don't have everything. We need to see a whole entertainment package of this thing at the convention, which we did see, and obviously that VR one I was talking about, Transference. That's what it's called. The VR one that was shown off by Elijah Wood. So then we saw also Joseph Gordon-Levitt coming out. He has a startup video game as well that's trying to get off the ground. We saw about, this is one we haven't gotten. Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, another sequel. This is the Rockstar Games edition. Obviously, this is a game that my roommates spent a lot of time playing when I was back in college. But no, Red Dead Redemption 2. Definitely go look at the trailers there. That's one of the more fun games when you're out there on the Wild Wild West trying to fend for yourself. Obviously, we talked about Be Good and Evil 2. That Star Fox series. I'm looking for my stuff about Halo. I had it earlier. I know, obviously, we were waiting for that Star Wars game and everything. It looks like that. I told you, February 2019. Save up your money, kids. Save up your money, kids, because it's going to be a frenzy. Or go make some pre-orders or something like that, and save up your money because obviously we're going to be getting a lot of games that day. Also seeing reports out that EA has announced that Battlefield 5 will actually have a Battle Royale mode, quote-unquote Battle Royale mode, as it is taking on, it's kind of trying to battle with Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite is a game where we're going to get to that probably in the next segment, that has been changing the entire gaming world. Obviously, we've gotten really into, this wasn't the first game to come out that had free to download in-game purchases. We had a game called Warframe that came out a little bit before that, that was also free to play, but you paid for if you really wanted to advance into the game and not have to be stuck on certain levels or something like that, you paid to upgrade your characters and get through. And that's how they made their money. But so we're definitely going for it. We're definitely going towards that direction, I think, as well. I mean, it's just another direction to go in. It's not the direction. It's not we're not seeing shifts. And this industry is what was it? $2.6 billion. 2.6 billion gamers, $108 billion. It's because there's enough people. There's 2.6 billion. There's different subsections of all those people that will go down that road to play Fortnite because it's for free, or those who will pay the $60 for the biggest game they've been waiting for the last year, or they pre-ordered it or whatever. It's just because they hype these games out and they space them out in certain times. You've been playing, especially the sequels and stuff like that. It's just money, cash machines. I mean, some of it obviously is you hype it up and it doesn't live up to its expectations and everything, but that's maybe some of the more peripheral games we're talking about here, or the big games where they have such crazy expectations it's almost impossible to reach them. Obviously we still are looking to see how much is going to change over the next few years. I don't think it's much going to change because people are kind of set in their ways with the fact that you're going to play. We're just getting more options. I don't think anything's going to really become the most popular thing. Obviously, Fortnite is making a big push to change that. But until Battlefield 5 and we don't get any more Star Wars games, or we're making movies into games with Resident Evil, or all these different kinds of genres are coming out, because there's a game for everybody. I play sports games. I play first-person shooter games. Not that big on role-playing. I'm not patient enough for it. But people are out there who love the role-playing games, and they can play 10 different ones. They can play Elder Scrolls. They can play Dark Souls. They can play. Obviously, Assassin's Creed is now trying to get into that realm as well, where they're trying to grab some of those RPG people. In the new Assassin's Creed Origins, you can decide if you want to be the man or the woman character. You can go into, there's love interests that change. You can do individual armor pieces. I mean, it's really pushing into the RPG kind of realm here in this gaming, obviously trying to get that. We have Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out, obviously, as well. So we're going to get new characters. Obviously, we're going to see Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Obviously, we're going to love those Disney characters. As the Disney Character Adventure series continues on, that's been one of the most popular games ever. Kingdom Hearts. I mean, because it just grabs at every single part of your childhood or everything. So there's always types and reasons to find out for why things become popular or not popular. Obviously, Microsoft has not announced the release date. Without a release date, obviously Halo Infinite is the latest in the series. Obviously, that's what we're calling it now, Halo Infinite, as they have. We don't know the release date for it. Obviously, it's going to be available on PC and then Xbox One. No PlayStation 4, as it say. That's one of the ones where the Microsoft only. It's been like that for pretty much ever. But yeah, no, Halo. We'll get into that as soon as more information comes out from Xbox with that one. Hopefully soon, and we'll get to it as fast as possible. It's definitely a game that I'm excited to get to. All right, we'll wrap it up for that segment as we'll come back and do some talk on Fortnite, Nintendo, and even more stuff as we're getting through this E3 conference. We'll probably do some more talking about it on Thursday as well. So everybody, stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Technology Podcast. Third segment of the day today here, as we are going to talk a little bit about Fortnite. I did talk about Fortnite last segment a little bit, and the fact that, yeah, it's this. You could say it's transcending the gaming industry. You could say it's changing it. You could say it's a new thing. I think it's the latter is the most accurate. It's just a new thing. It's a new thing that really caught on. This battle royale mode, obviously there's obviously not just that, there's the other mode too. But the fact that you could do this and it's more cartoonish, I'm not going to say it's youth friendly. It's a first person shooter. You're taking people down, but and looting and all stuff like that. But the fact that you're building your own map, you're having all these different things that you can change. You can with play online and everything. All the things that players can have an effect on is pretty cool. And the fact that obviously, yeah, it's one of those free download games where you pay in the app, pay in the thing where we're seeing that it's kind of same thing where it's like free apps on your phone. You're paying in the app like Candy Crush or Clash of Clans. Kind of the same thing. Now we're getting it on the consoles, and then of course Epic Games is smart enough. You know what? We should actually build a mobile version of this, which they did, and of course that's also pretty popular as well. So maybe that's the fact that that's why it's transcending the gaming industry, quote unquote transcending, or whatever word you want to use, because it's on all the different platforms that it is, mobile, PC, and on consoles. So that's also pretty cool. So you don't really see massive video games like that go on to mobile. Also, of course, it got a celebrity following, which is a big deal. Drake, you had somebody become famous just by playing the game. The fact that it came into it came out in a day and age where Twitch is now fully in effect as and you can watch people live stream their gaming instead of having to go on YouTube and watching it after they played with their commentary. You can literally watch them do it in real time with Twitch, as it's now kind of taken over that whole industry or service or whatever you want, platform to host video games and or live stream of your video games, which is pretty cool. So that's obviously, it was a perfect microcosm of things that happened in order for this game to just explode into the stratosphere here, because like I said, celebrity has a lot to do with it. You got football players playing it, basketball players playing it. Like I said, Drake is playing with his. These guys are fanboying each other because the ninja guy is a fan of Drake and Drake's a fan of the ninja guy, and they're playing with each other. It's cool. It's something we've never really seen before. Where obviously we've had the connectivity to do this, where I'm sure famous people played online together for years, but now we could actually watch them do it live, and they're live tweeting and putting all these things we're seeing. The fact that you can screen record all these different things when you are live streaming, you can go back and watch a recording of your gameplay and say there's a really cool like highlight of or a kill or something that happened in the game, which I've seen tons of now all over social media. You could just record it, grab it, edit it down, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram, post it on whatever you want, Tumblr, and it's a video, and people can watch it, and it gains more traction. Okay, now more people are playing it. Not to mention, if you go on your Xbox like I do most every day, on the main entry screen, Fortnite, download for free, right there. Boom. I mean, I don't know how much Microsoft wants, either whether they just do that because it's in the contract of when they have the game on their service, they have to do that, or Epic Games pays them to put that kind of advertisement on the front screen, whatever it may be. Obviously, it's already popular in itself. It's kind of been pushed into the stratosphere. The fact that when you just saw a weird little picture of a comet on a garbage can in one of the parts of the map, people went crazy, and then it led to the next season of the game. Which, I mean, it's the only thing is you don't have to wait for Fortnite 2 to come out. It just updates by itself. Boom. It's done. Fortnite season, what was it? I think we're on season 4 or 5 now. I previewed the seasons as we're coming out, as we have new parts of the map. I mean, it's also the fact that, I mean, I told you. I mean, it's obviously, it's just a big deal. And the fact that now we're getting into this, like I said, this is all leading to more money, more monetization. And how do you do that? You set up live competitions, and sure enough, later today on because of E3, Epic will be hosting a 100-person tournament. That's 50 celebrities and 50 live streamers that were invited to make this the first live scale tournament of its kind. Like I said, it's only headed towards, there's a collision course here. E-gaming, esports is the future. It is going to be huge. It is going to have its own television channel. ESPN's already trying to get on it. All the major sports broadcasting companies are trying to get on it, whether it's NBA 2K, or it's Fortnite, or it's NHL, or it's any game. Like I said, what was it? StarCraft, all those other ones we've already seen people play in those big, there's a little dark, dimly lit arenas with a sunken stage, so you can watch on top, and they're all in their little wired into their gaming area, which is, I mean, it's intense. I mean, they're just sitting there, but you're watching the gameplay. It corresponds up to the screen, and it's just like they're sitting there because they have to like just basically thumbs versus thumbs, fingers versus fingers, and it's crazy. Now you can go on YouTube and look up the gaming granny. That's actually a fun watch. She's good. She's really good, and she works this controller like in none other, like gaming granny. She's really good. That's a good watch on YouTube. Go look that up. But yeah, going back to Fortnite, we're going to get, I mean, I'm just going to drop some names here, obviously, when it comes to some of these players who are going to be involved in this big tournament. We're going to have rappers Party Next Door and Vince Staples, actors Chandler Riggs and John Hader, athletes Demetrius Johnson and Terrence Ross. You're going to get Ninja is going to be on there. That's Tyler Blevins, who's a streamer. They're all going to be on stage too. It's all live with Ninja, and then also we have Ali Kabani, who's known as Myth. Obviously, everybody's going to come out with their cool little nickname. I'm surprised we're not seeing a Juju Smith-Schuster invite. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with there, but we're going to get a couple different guys. As Terrence Ross, he's the player for the he's on the Orlando Magic, and then who is Demetrius Johnson? I think I don't know if he plays basketball or not, but I don't know. We're going to get, I mean, it's so cool. I have to go find out if they're just streaming. Obviously, this is going to be on for consumption. So if you are like me and interested, to go watch this live stream of it. I think he's a mixed martial artist. There we go. Is he UFC? Yeah, UFC, current flyweight champion in the UFC. So there you go. You got some BAs in there going after whether it's the rappers or such like this. Chandler Riggs, by the way, is the guy from he's the guy from Walking Dead, by the way. And then John Heater is John Heater. He's a bunch of different stuff. But obviously this popularity, everybody, the fast-paced moving world, I think this game has already got it's got a grapple hold. It's got a death grip on our culture right now. Like I said, it's a perfect microcosm of everything that happened. Live streaming, great gameplay, free to play to start at least. You don't have to pay $60 or beg your mom to go to GameStop and buy it. Not that really stops people anyways. That's kind of one of the least of the worries when it comes to gaming, is because people go buy games. They just do. Whether they pre-order them or pay them off over time or whatever, you can do that. And then obviously the streaming, free to play, good gameplay, celebrity backing, and then the fact that you can play with anybody you want. You can play with your friend. You can get a Fortnite group together. I know my buddy literally has a group of friends that he just plays Fortnite with. He met them. They could live on the other side of the country. I mean, this has been around, obviously, live, Xbox Live, PlayStation Live, whatever you want to say. The online gaming has been around for a long time, but this is the first time where we're really seeing the Twitch aspect of it get involved. And then, of course, competition gaming, which is where everything's headed towards. Collision course, competition gaming, that's going to be live broadcasted across the nation. Obviously, the free-to-play Battle Royale mode of this will be the one that is being played today by these this 100-person tournament that I'm trying to find. EpicGames.com. I have to link put a link for this thing on here. Is obviously there's a 3 million. There's going to be a big deal. 50 celebrities, 50 gamers. It's going to be, like I said, June 12th. It's going to be streamed live. Where is it going to be? Oh, it's going to be actually, yeah. So they're playing this game at the Bank of California Stadium, which is actually one of the newer stadiums built down in Los Angeles. The host, they are it's the home field of the this is the first year they're playing in the MLS, is the Los Angeles Football Club. So at their home stadium, which is Bank of California Stadium down in Los Angeles, is going to be hosting this. It's going to be at 3:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Eastern time. And it's gonna be streamed live. Like I said, it will be streamed live, and you can I'll link this onto the show notes, and it'll have the button just to put stream live. So actually, yeah, we'll be up in plenty of time before this is going to be going out. So yeah, we'll be up probably around 10:30, 11, and this will be definitely, you'll have some time to find the link and then go click the little watch button, and it'll get you into the live stream of that competition, which is going to be pretty cool. They're playing in a soccer stadium, and this is one of the coolest. I mean, go look at that stadium. Honestly, I'm a fan of architecture, kind of a weird architecture nerd when it comes to like stadiums. Just a little side note, tangent, but it's a really cool stadium, and the fact that these guys are playing there. Yeah, it's today at 3:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Eastern. So definitely time. I'll link that. I'll put that link in the description in the show notes, and you will be able to get the little button to press and watch the live stream of that. That's gonna be pretty cool. Got to keep that saved. Obviously, Fortnite. we can talk about Fortnite. I could do a whole episode on Fortnite probably, because not only is it a really fun game to play, but it's a game that it obviously, yeah, people are like, oh, it's a killing, or it's still a first person shooter at heart, blah blah blah. I mean, yeah, we're gonna get all those people coming out and talking, but it's also more of a cartoon, not much gore involved, a lot of skill, a lot of strategy, a lot of team play, a lot of communication is necessary. I mean, all this kind of stuff, and it's fun, and it looks really cool. All these like people jumping around, everything you can do. The dances have really I mean, that's the other thing. It's meme quality. It's meme quality. I mean, the fact that we see videos of these kids doing the dances. They throw Thanos in there. It's now crossed over with one of the most popular film franchises in the history of film, Avengers series. Throw Thanos in there and make that even more popular. I mean, it's just ridiculous what they're doing here. So, I mean, that's just a couple of the names that I listed off regarding the popularity. And the tournament, obviously, is another thing that's going to be happening. As I don't know if they're going to be... I mean, I can only imagine if they're going to have it at the stadium. Are they going to actually have people watch it live on the stadium? If they're going to play on like a big screen or something? I hope so. That's going to be awesome. All right. That'll wrap it up for this segment, as we're going to come back in the final segment and go over some stuff from Uber and Tesla. I know last week was when Elon Musk had his future decided. We'll do some talk on that, as well as Uber and the new Uber Lite app that's coming out. And they look to take up less space on your phone, I think, is what their whole goal is there, and use less bandwidth. They're trying to get more available for people with a smaller app. All right, we'll be right back with that.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Technology Podcast, as we have been doing a bunch of E3 talk today. Honestly, I wish I probably should have just done E3 all day today, but there was some news out of Uber, some news out of Tesla, obviously, Elon Musk's future with the company. Well, I don't know with the company, but some of his stuff was, he was definitely, his future was decided a little bit, at least, with the board that he had to go in front of. Obviously, they had to come. I think it was the first time that he really had to go and really stand in front and kind of deal with that stuff. Obviously, they did vote to remove him from the board. Actually, so they did vote. Or actually, no. Did they say what they say? He overcomes the vote. So he overcame. He did have to. He said it appears emotional after he comes remove him from the Tesla board. So. So it says that they did vote to maintain his role as the chairman of the Tesla board, so that's good. So they did try and so obviously the proposal to try and strip him of the position was pretty controversial. I don't think they disclosed what the voting tally was, whether it was a split decision or not, but definitely the Tesla has been having some issues. Obviously they have their self-driving car issue. We did a little talk on that. I mean, I think maybe last month or definitely a few weeks ago when it comes to the self-driving car and how Tesla seems to always be in the crosshairs when it comes to pointing fingers on who to blame on these self-driving car accidents, even though they're definitely not the only company that is involved in these trying to develop this technology, but they are definitely the company that's the most verbal about it, the most visible. They've been the most flamboyant about it, so they kind of get the brunt of the negativity because of what they've been doing before, and they've been involved in some issues as well. So we've gone over that, so we don't really need to go reiterate that, but definitely a tough year for Tesla last year, when it comes to their own cars that actually do get driven by humans. They've had some production issues. Obviously, they're trying to come out with new models, have had problems with producing enough cars in a certain amount of time. He's always promised this and certain numbers, haven't really lived up to it every time. And obviously, there was I think he was nervous. I don't know if he was nervous. I think he was probably more confident, but the fact that it came to this definitely pushed him to an emotional state. Obviously, this is 6 months. This is becoming 6 months, halfway through a year that has been deemed the toughest year in the company's history. So there was the vote, and he actually was quoted in saying, this is on stuff.com, stuff mag. This is so they're coming out and saying that was the most excruciating, hellish several months that we've ever had. And that was the quote that he gave to the media after the vote. So so he said, I think we're getting there as well, though. That's the thing. I think we're getting there. Obviously, he has been dealing with has to deal with everything when it comes to the stock performance, which has actually been down 7% to the year from the year to date. So I mean, Tesla stock though it's the most shorted stock. I think that I heard a Business and Technology report earlier saying that Tesla was one of the most shorted stocks of anything, as people definitely are just waiting for the demise of Tesla, saying that they are a little too big for their britches, even though I think they just bought another plant to start making more cars. But I mean, just there's a lot involved in this stuff, as they have to go through a lot of red tape, a lot of different price points. The cars aren't the cheapest things in the world. Obviously, they were a big fad. You saw them all over Silicon Valley, if you live in that area, or even all around California, and in the nicer areas of California as well, suburb areas. So there's definitely was a decision to be made when it came to the future of the company, and as they've hit a plateau, and obviously the vote actually was determined. It was not only the fate of Musk, but there was other board members who were also on the chopping block. Antonio Garcias, a private equity investor, Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, and James Murdoch, the chief executive of 20th Century Fox, were also up for debate when it came to their positions on the board as well. So obviously this was the fact that he was actually even doing this, considered for removal, Elon Musk, that is, that was introduced by Jing Zhao, a shareholder who was questioning. I mean, he was questioning. Musk obviously was spread too thin. The guy wants to go to space. I mean, he's not misfounded on that claim. He is spread pretty thin. The guy's the chairman of a board of a company that he created, obviously, that makes very high quality electric cars, that has a pretty niche market at this point now. And also he's trying to do SpaceX, and he's trying to do the self-driving cars, and he's trying to stave off the problems with both of those, as obviously they're big undertakings, and the two of those things are huge undertakings. Obviously he's been deemed this visionary, which is great, but with that comes a lot of flack, and it comes a lot of tough steps to take, and red tape, and obstacles to jump over. And with obstacles, and you stumble over a couple of those obstacles, people kind of turn around and point at you and laugh and call you out. So I mean, the fact that I'm not surprised this is actually happening, and honestly, it wouldn't have been surprised either way with what the decision he made. Probably would have been obviously more surprised if he was removed. Not really surprised that he wasn't removed, but the fact that they got to this point doesn't really shock me whatsoever, because I mean, it's true. He is spread too thin. Whether he can do it is a different question, but the fact that he has all these different things on his plate could be a reason that some of those things on his plate aren't really coming to fruition the way he wanted to. Obviously, a lot of them, two of them are quite big undertakings. I mean, if there was anything, maybe he should step back and decide to let somebody else run at least the operations of the car company for now. But I mean, the fact that these Model 3s are taking a while to come out, they are highly anticipated, but there's been production challenges, poor worker safety issues, obviously, with the self-driving car issues as well. Those have lingering effects in the media, just like anything else. So we have to deal with that. Obviously, Zhao, in his proposal, it was a written proposal. I'll read the quote that he was an excerpt from that proposal. It was quoted that although the current leadership structure in which the positions of the chairman and chief executive are held by one person could provide an effective leadership for Tesla at an early stage, now in this much more highly competitive and rapidly changing technology industry, it is more and more difficult to oversee Tesla's business and senior management, which makes complete sense. He's right. At the earlier stage of the infancy of Tesla, having the CEO be the chair of the board is a fine thing. But I mean, what we saw that at obviously Apple's one thing to look at. That was a merry-go-round almost at Apple. I mean, we've had 2 movies to go through that to see how much with the old executive, whether it was CEO or chair of the board or board member in general, with Steve Jobs and all those guys and ladies that he dealt with over there. We've seen a big deal with that. I mean, Microsoft. I mean, I bet you that Bill Gates had to deal with his own stuff, with the fact that he's CEO, who's going to be the chairman of the board, who's going to do all this and that. And obviously Musk has a lot of different things in his plate. Like I've talked about that. I've used that analogy a bunch now. He has a lot of different interests. And that proposal was not misfounded at all. And I bet you if Elon Musk, when he read that paragraph there, that excerpt there, that he probably was like, not far from the truth. I'd still want to be in charge of everything, obviously, and be in charge and be the chairman of the board, and also be the CEO of the company that I created myself, founded myself, and so I mean, whether he wants to be more pompous and is more seeing it as a slight to his ability as a person or ability as a professional, then so be it. But I feel like as a common sense thinker that he probably was not too much in disagreement with those statements, but had to be more in disagreement because of the fact that he wants the want and the need to be in charge probably outweighed his just the normal sensible common sense kind of thing as well. So I mean, Musk obviously when it comes to this the future of it, it's going to be a decision. I mean, there's been another guy, obviously, who is an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. His name is Steve Blank, and he teaches business at Stanford as well. He was the one who came out and said that it's probably unlikely that that Musk would be removed from the position. Obviously, he was even quoted in saying or mentioning that, in the comparison to Steve Jobs himself, Musk is a visionary and an innovator. Obviously, that vision is tough to implement, and it's a long-term thing. So just like Steve Jobs was, there's obstacles and there's stumbles and falls and people and red tape and all this different stuff you have to go through in order to get your vision into the real world. So, I mean, Steve Jobs did it. He's pushed Apple into... into where it is now. I mean, he gave it over to Tim Cook, who's ushered it even further. He created his iPod. He created his iPhone. He did everything he needed to do. Steve Jobs did, and it took obviously the Mac and everything too. Along with that, has gotten there too as well. So I mean. Blank even came out and said, this is actually the quote, saying this is no longer an innovation problem, it's an execution at a scale problem. Unless Tesla wants to be a niche innovator chasing profitability and sucking up cash, they need to become an expert at execution at scale, but that is hard for people who in their DNA want to continually innovate. So that's true. I mean, the fact that he's saying that Elon Musk is so eager to innovate and to create better things that you just got to make something that works, buddy. Make something that works and works fast and works efficiently and works well for your customer base. Stop trying to be the next best thing, basically, is what he's saying. And I think that if you can get that mindset, you can start making some of these Model 3 sedans as fast as possible. It's basically just getting better working conditions and getting better workers in there, or not better workers, but getting more workers in there to build these cars for you. All right, that'll wrap it up for the stuff on Tesla. I do want to touch really quickly at the end of the show. I do talk about that Uber Lite app. Not much behind it. Just it is supposed to be geared towards taking up less space on your phone. They do want to try and get as much people, obviously, to the whole low data use, low space on your phone, obviously, with the fact that they see already 75 million rides per month They 15 million rides a day. Obviously, people have having issues with the slower phones and slower networks, older phones. So they decided to develop an app that is going to be called Uber Lite, and it's going to be launching. Actually, it's going to be launching today or yesterday. Launched in India, and will be rolling out to more countries as well. There's a waiting list to download the link, waiting list form instead of a download link, because they want to keep it more smaller until it can be expanded further, because of the fact that this is this is only 5 megabytes. It's Android app. It takes up just 5 megabytes. It's basically delete a few pictures from your phone, and you can have the Uber Lite app, obviously, and it's going to be a 300 millisecond response time, as well as it'll only be. And it will be able to be used on some of the sluggish networks that we see even in India as well. So 4% of users in India are on that 2G network. So that's what they're trying to get towards, especially when it comes to being able to be used around the globe, not only in areas where high quality internet service is available. All right, then to wrap it up, lots of talk on E3. We'll do even more of it on Thursday, so be ready. Obviously, right now, Nintendo is having their big presentation. I'll be linking the Fortnite link. I'll be copying and pasting that Fortnite link into the show notes, so you can have that, and then just be one click away from the live stream of that big Battle Royale competition. That's going to be pretty cool. A big tournament, 50 on 50, 50 celebrities, 50 live streamers are going to be down in LA at Bank of California Stadium to play one of the first live, big, giant, massive scaled competition tournaments for Fortnite. So be able to do that, and I'll put that in the link for you. So everybody, we'll see you on Thursday. Have a good week. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.